surprised. Is this the Jim Crow South? Is this 1955 when Emmett Till was brutally murdered? I'm watching this trial. Lead prosecutor, black. Many of the witnesses, black. The use of expert whose testimony I'm playing excerpts from, black. The police chief who fired the 4 officers, black. 4 of the jurors, black. The mayor of the city is a left-wing Jew, Democrat, of course. So in the event that the trial does not turn out the way she wants, cities will still burn. It's not possible in her mind, and in the minds of many of the pundits, many of them are lawyers that I watch on CNN and on HLN, which is carrying the thing gavel to gavel. Many of them don't seem to think at all that it's possible somebody could see it differently. Now, I've tried cases before, not a lot, but I've made opening statements, closing statements. I've done voir dire, questioning the jury. And when you're in there making cases, they're not hearing any sidebar. They're not watching the commentators give their opinion. And they're going to be instructed. Look at the facts, apply the facts and the law to how a reasonable officer would have behaved. Was it reasonable to use the kind of force that was used on a man that big, drugs in his system, who resisted 2 officers before Derek Chauvin even arrived on the scene? Was it reasonable to be concerned about the crowd that was gathering? A crowd that I found out yesterday, based on a photograph, and even one of the use of experts conceded it, that one gentleman had to be restrained by another gentleman. And on cross-examination, the defense lawyer said, "Do you notice this? Does this appear to be a man restraining a bystander from coming forward?" And the use of force expert said, yes, it does. And you don't think there's going to be back and forth on the cause of death? And remember, the knee has to be a substantial cause of death. You don't think the defense is going to come up with a whole bunch of experts who'll make the argument they had enough drugs in him to kill himself no matter what? I'm not saying the state has not put on witnesses that were very, very persuasive about that. I'm just saying wait and see what the defense does. And believe me, they're going to come up with as many experts as the prosecution has. And if you're the jury and one expert says, well, it was on the knee. One expert says, well, it was on the shoulder. One expert says, well, it killed him. One expert says, well, it didn't. What do you do? What do you do? You say, well, I have to decide this beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty, and I can't do it. I've got offsetting use of expert witnesses. I've got offsetting medical expert witnesses. And so what keeps going on is, well, use your own common sense. Go back to the videotape. Wasn't it horrible? Concede it was horrible. And on cross-examination, the defense got one of the witnesses for the state to admit that there's a term called awful but lawful. Here's more of the cross-examination.